All right, good morning, everybody. Good to be here. Wow. So this week we get to wrap up our conversation about the happiness recipe. Are we ready? Okay. We in agreement? So as I was reading through the final sections of this wonderful, wonderful book, she started talking about celebrating. And I remembered something I think I've mentioned before, that for a number of years, seems like forever ago and seems like yesterday, I ran the youth program for Centers for Spiritual Living for the whole country. Started as a youth, and I did the Seattle thing. I was going to school in Seattle. Then, bigger and better, whatever. But one thing we used to do at camp, and we started doing it at camp when we were with the kids, is we empowered them to stand up. When we were gathered together as a group, we empowered them to stand up whenever they felt the need or the desire or the inspiration to stand up in the middle of the space and say, I'm ready for a standing ovation. So you got. Come on, there we go. I knew somebody would stand up. I was not sure, but it was entirely possible. And see how powerful that is? And would you dare in the middle of your life to stand up and just internally give yourself a standing ovation? Or is there something you can do for yourself along the way that would be, this is my standing ovation for me? Do you dare celebrate you? Do you give yourself permission to just be happy with you? Can you look over the course of your life, the course of your existence, no matter how many trips around the sun you've made, and say, yeah, I did that, and I did that, and I did that. And I'm proud of those things. And yeah, along the way, I've stumbled and fallen. And yeah, along the way, feelings have gotten hurt. And yeah, along the way, I've made mistakes. And you know what? I did that, and I did that, and I did that, and I did that. So as we're going through the seasons of our lives, as you're going through these times, this kind of self-evaluation process that Rebecca Morrison has invited us to do in the book, and say, what season of life am I in right now? And what are the objectives? What are the goals? What are the priorities? What are the things I want to do over this course of time? And maybe some of them are big and some of them are small, and I kind of trim some away. And I've got 2 or 3 these are my priorities for this period of time. And understanding that life is a process. That happiness is not necessarily an end result, but happiness is a way of being that I am building for myself. Happiness is a way of being that I am opening myself to on an ever expanding basis. It's not a destination somewhere. Where does it live? Where does happiness live? It lives right in here. And where do I experience it? I experience it not out here somewhere. I'm not chasing it down like a critter in the woods. It's right here. And it's a matter of turning within and finding that place. Where does happiness live in me, and how do I get it? How do I not actually get it? How do I open myself to it? Allow it. Get out of my own way, so to speak, rather than just going, waking up and going, God, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. No, 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 no. It's not a to-do list per se, as it is an I get to be list. So I've got a couple quotes from Rebecca Morrison from towards the end of the book, and spoiler alert, I'm just going to tell you, if you haven't got to the end, this is some of the stuff from the end of the book. So she says this, finally, remember, this season is yours. And happiness is yours for the taking. All you need is your authenticity, an honest understanding of what you really want, think and feel right now of what is most important to you. 2, aligned emotional energy, the beliefs and feelings that will support you as you go. And 3, action, aligned physical energy, aligned action that matches what matters most to you. 3 things. I know I read that and I went, okay, yeah, no small order. And it's okay, I can do this. Because for me, I look at all of these things, and what it's saying to me is I get to be true to me. I get to be true to what is going on inside of me. When I sweep away all the little anxieties, all the fears, all the doubts, all the uncertainties, and go, you know what? It's me and it's spirit. And I get to draw all my friends around who will support me. I get to tell a few people, this is what I'm about. Not to tell everybody. Just a few who I know who will be like, yeah. And I gather those people together, and I gather me together, and I say, okay, this is where I'm going now. I'm going this direction. And yeah, I'm going across the ocean of my life, and sometimes I'm going to tack and jibe, back and forth across, right? Because I'm on a sailboat. And of course, unless you're just going downwind the whole time, which is rare, you're going back and forth across that straight line, right? I'm always adjusting, always adapting, because the playing field changes all the time. Because what else is changing all the time? I'm changing all the time. At least I hope I am. Be awful boring if I'm not learning and growing too. She goes on to talk about talking to her younger self in 1997. And it goes like this. To my younger self, the only thing you are supposed to do and be is you. And you're okay, and you will be okay. It's not a big deal that you've shifted gears. You're questioning what you thought you wanted to do. This will be hard to do sometimes, but just because it is hard doesn't mean it is wrong. Embrace your intuition. Listen to what your feelings, great and small, tell you about where your happiness lives. So when it comes to your way of being, when it comes to embracing happy, what does that feel like? You're like, what do you mean, what does happy feel like? It's different for everybody. Everybody's happy place is not the same. You get to make it up. You get to say, this is my happy space. This is what my life looks like. This is what my life feels like when I'm happy. Today, this is what it looks like. Maybe this season, this is what it looks like for 5 years, for 3 years, for 2 years, for 1 year. We get to define it. We get to create it. We get to say, this is what I want it to be. And I get to step through all the little things. I get to dance around with all the little fears and anxieties. I get to dance around with all the possibilities. I get to be a possibilitarian, whatever, that word. I get to live there. Possibilitarian, thank you.
There you go.
I had it while we were singing. I get to be a possibilitarian. I'm sending that to whoever does the dictionary thing. Yeah, we need to do that. Yeah. How fun do we dare? How much fun do I dare to have? And I know there are seasons in life where it's like, you know what, I just got to buckle down I got to buckle down and dig through. I got to buckle down, suck it up and say, you know what, I need to go make money. I need to go do this. I need to go do that. And for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, I'm going to hammer away and get after this. Because I know when I get to the end of it, there's a sense of freedom. So I know that through this tough time, we label it as a tough time. No, you know what? This is a time where I'm going to go rock the world, right? I'm going to go generate so much income for 9 months that when I get to the end, I'm going to be like, wow, I did that. And every time I make a little progress, I get to celebrate. Every time I make a little win, maybe I stand up in the midst of my life and say, you know what? I deserve a standing ovation for this. That's how it works, friends. And maybe what you need to do is stand in front of the mirror and go, this is your standing ovation for the morning. Because if you're not going to celebrate you, ain't nobody else going to celebrate you. Maybe you just inside you just want to be celebrated. Maybe sometimes there are those times when somebody needs to walk up and pat you on the back and say, you know what, you're doing okay. You are okay and you're going to be okay. Ernest Holmes writes in the Science of Mind. Yeah, there's an Ernest Holmes quote this morning too. Imagine that. Founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, author of The Science of Mind, the book we teach from all the time. I've got 6 copies in various stages of repair and disrepair in my home. Well, maybe not 6 now, probably about 3. He writes this. Oh, there it is. Our mental acceptance should be filled with conviction, warmth, color, and imagination. The creative power responds to feeling more quickly than to any other mental attitude. Yes, thoughts are things. Yes, our belief sets the limit to our experience. Yes, it is done unto us as we believe. And what drives all of that, what is back of all the creative power, what is back of that mental form that I've created in consciousness is the feeling that fuels the creative process, is the atmosphere that surrounds the process of my creating that form for spirit to fill is the feeling. The feeling that surrounds the process of creating that form is the feeling that will be present at the point of manifestation in my life. It all works together. That's why Rebecca Morrison talks about how does it feel? How do you want to feel in the end? How do you want to feel when we get to that point that says, happy? What is that? We get to say so. We get to design it. We get to go through this process that is in this book and say, these are my priorities. This is what this season is like. And this is what is part of the process for me of saying, there's this season and there's the next one. And so this is what I'm doing in this one to set me up for the next one too. To keep the happy train going. One season after the next, after the next. And yeah, I know sometimes I can be in the midst of it and I can't even manage to think about what the end result is for this season because today I am in it. Today I'm in the dark. Today I woke up and man, it feels like the world is falling apart around me. And then I'm going to remember this quote from Frank Herbert. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. When I face it, when I cease running away from it, and I look for the gift inside of the fear, fear becomes what's the word I'm looking for? Fear becomes a road sign instead of a stop sign. And there have been any number of times in my life. Okay, some water, please. Thanks, Valerie. Thanks. You need that so I can just talk. In a number of times in my life where fear has stopped me and I regretted it. And when I realized that I could flip it, and find the gift inside of it, and let it be the road sign, because it will always point me. It will always point me to the places that need attention. And I know we know this, and we forget. Because sometimes it can be scary to say, you know what? Yeah, I did that. And it's not pretty. And yeah, I can. It's scary to let go of the comfortable spaces, even when they're filled with fear. We get used to being in that fear space. And then it becomes scary to step out of the fear space. Anybody who's dealt with any kind of addiction knows this, especially. Because when we get into, we get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? We get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the next step beyond that is saying, you know what? A little discomfort is stretching. A little discomfort is growing. A little discomfort says, you know what? I can be more. And it takes courage, and it takes love, and it takes care. And it means taking care of me to such a degree that says, you know what? I have to do this for me. Not because I know it's what they expect out there. I have to do this for me because it's being true to who I am. And sometimes that's uncomfortable because maybe that means I have to let go of things that I've been doing for so long that they just become automatic. They just become automatic, and I do it just because I've always done it that way. No more. No more. Because now I get to create new habits. Now I get to create something that's unique and special to me because I've created this. This is my happy place. And I get to celebrate me, and I get to be something magical. I get to be something magical today. Because there's a divine idea of me waiting to be birthed. And every time I step through the fear, I create more space for it. Every time I let go of a doubt, I create more space for it. Every time I choose me, I'm feeding that idea that says, you know what? I am more than this. I am more than this. I'm going to keep it tight. The final quote this morning is about a conversations with me. You having a conversation with you. From Brene Brown, she writes this, and I'm not sure which book it's from. She writes about vulnerability. Vulnerability is the birthplace of connection and the path to the feeling of worthiness. If it doesn't feel vulnerable, the sharing is probably not constructive. How vulnerable are you willing to be with you? On the path of growth, the path of spiritual awakening, it's all about conversations with me, not about conversations with anybody else. Me growing is about me sharing with me connecting with me connecting with my higher power, which we can't ever be disconnected with. It's kind of a misnomer anyway. I cannot disconnect from my source because my source is what I am. How willing am I to stand in that place Not even that place. How willing am I to stand in this place right here, right now, and tell the truth about me? And say, this is where I am. Warts and all, scars and all the rest of it. And say, and there's more. Maybe I'm not happy today. Maybe I'm not real happy in my life and I want to be happier. What do I let go of today? What do I tell the truth about today? Where do I need to go? What does that look like? In all of that, the honest, vulnerable conversation with me, that's the tough one. So I can hide out. I got lots of little boxes in my brain that I can just kind of stick, go, okay, that one just stays over here. I don't want to look at that one. There was a meme rolling around Instagram this week about guys' brain boxes. And I'm here, it's not just guys. We all have them. Get them all out, friends. Drag them all down out of the attic. Take them out into the yard. Let them all see the light of day and set yourself free. Because that is when we get to be free. We're not hiding from us. The trail, the path to the happy space lives in vulnerability, lives in telling myself the truth, lives in saying, this is what I get to do, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm doing today, and celebrating it, and taking every little inch of a win and being happy about it, and patting yourself on the back, and finding somebody in your life that you can share with and say, you know what? We're going to celebrate every possible win we can find. I will text you every time, I did this. And then you send back, yay. We do that. Every possible little win. And it works. Find somebody to partner with. And say, you know what? These are the wins. The little encouragements make all the difference in the world. So I'm going to wrap it up right here. Practice for this week, and this leads right into the practice. Spiritual practice for this week is recognize your wins, great and small. I don't care how small. If you wake up in the morning and make the bed, that's a win. If you get your gratitude practice done at any point during the day, I don't care, morning, noon, evening, do it twice a day, that's a win. If you get the dishes done before you go to bed, I used to be really good about that. I've kind of fallen out. That was a thing for me. It was. I didn't like waking up in the morning and seeing dishes in the sink. I was, maybe make a comeback on that one. We'll see. But you get the point, right? All the little wins matter. So celebrate the wins this week. And if you need somebody to partner with you on win celebrating, text me. I will celebrate wins with you. If that is what you need, I will do that. So, I forget the order when we have two people. Oh no. 3 minutes. Open mic.
Q&A. All right.
3 minutes. Open mic. Diane, good morning.
Good morning. In the next few days, I'm going to be able to spend some time with my older brother, my big brother, and that's such a win for me. He's my person who knows me better than anyone, and 14 months older, Vietnam Captain Special Forces, my hero, because they came back from that and got nothing. So He's a lovely man, but he also recollects some of my very first phrases. He says the first complete sentence I said was, "He did it." And I'm sure he's right. But I love him dearly, so I'm celebrating getting to spend some time with him.
Yay.
Anyone else? Comment, question?
Reverend Lee, this was deep today.
Oh.
This was a deep one. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a question. You said that fear points us to what needs attention. Is that just like a growth thing of, okay, this scares me, and I don't know. Just elaborate on that if you would.
Wow. There's a whole talk on that.
No.
For instance, I'll give an example. I quit smoking 3.5 years ago. A friend of mine challenged me to do the 75 hard challenge, which was a thing. It was a very popular thing a few years ago. It was a whole health and fitness thing. And I said, and he said, and he looked at me because we were on video chat. And he looked at me. He says, "You look scared." And I said, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Then you ought to do it." And I said, "Well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to quit smoking at the same time because we're talking about 2 45-minute workouts a day, the whole thing." And my tummy kind of just went, and I'm like, "Okay, fine." And that's it. For me, there's the kind of fear that keeps us safe in the world, right? Like, don't walk down this alley. That's one thing. I'm talking about from the spiritual, personal growth perspective. It's like, do I need to go have this difficult conversation with somebody? And your tummy goes, rah, 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 rah. And you go, well, yeah, then I do. Yes, I need to go do that, right? Because that's energy moving. That's butterflies, right, that are disorganized, and you need to kind of coach them into flying in formation so we can use that energy and go take care of it, right? That's an old metaphor I used to use when I was teaching public speaking, right? Use that energy, right? We organize the energy and say, okay, I can use this for my benefit. Same thing. So when I've had fear about something, I explore, I say, is this something I need to walk into? You will know, right? We all know. Our intuition will tell us. One more.
One more? All right.
I got a lot out of today, but one thing I really heard loud and clear was like a to-do list. Instead of I have to do, I get to do. That
Mhm.
really is a big shift
It's a big shift.
to me to see it that way. Thanks.
You bet.
All right.
All right.
Any burning comments before we stop?
All right.
Joseph.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
I think one thing that there's errors in our judgment sometimes is we feel as though we just disconnect from it, it's going to go away. And we develop an avoidant personality disorder to where we just think, okay, I just won't bother with that. I'll leave this business situation alone. I'll leave this relationship. I'll walk away from that. I'll walk away from this opportunity. I'll walk away from that conversation. And you think, I got it under control by doing that. When in reality, behind the scenes, you're just exacerbating what's already the problem.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Thank you. That was a great point. Great point. All right. Pray, and then you. I'll keep it tight. 3 minutes or less. Oh, thank you. We take a moment to just pause and be grateful for this time we've had to share. We recognize that there's a power and presence and infinite life, an infinite spirit in which we live and move and have our being. We are surrounded by it. It lifts us up in each and every moment. It brings us to an awareness of our happy place, our happy space right inside of us. And I know and affirm and trust for each and every one of us here, for everybody online, all is well and life is good. I let the light shine forth. I let love lead. Let joy bubble up inside of us in this moment, and we go forward knowing that divine love guides, directs, protects, and inspires me to do and to be just that perfect thing in each and every moment. And I know that each and every one of us is blessed and is a blessing in this life. That this thing we call life is good as each and every one of us. And so we let it be, and so it is.